شاهد كيف علق مسؤول في الجيش الإسرائيلي على اغتيال حسن نصرالله. إذا كنت مش مشترك في القناة بدعوك للاشتراك في القناة وتفعيل زر الإشعارات حتى يصلك كل جديد.
Israel carried out this attack because, as we've said from the beginning, Hezbollah is what stands in the way of Israeli civilians moving north and peace in the entire northern part of the country. Israel clearly felt that Nasrallah is a major target. He's calling all the shots, as is his second command. We work very closely with the United States, they're our greatest ally. But Israel, at the end of the day, has independence to try to fulfill its military objectives in order to protect its own people.
The truth is, though, that U.S. officials have been frustrated by their relationship, certainly in the White House with Benjamin Netanyahu, and the perception is that the U.S. has invested diplomatic and other capital and backed Israel, certainly militarily, since October 7th and prior to October 7th, but that Netanyahu isn't returning the favor, as it were. For instance, in terms of getting a ceasefire and hostage release deal across the finish line in Gaza. Is that a fair criticism?
Well, I could tell you, Jim, that the last year has been the greatest challenge in Israel's history. I mean, we are threatened by 7 different fronts: the Houthis in Yemen, Hezbollah in the north, Hamas in Gaza, and that's just to name a few. This is the hour that Israel will look back, and the world will look back and say, who stands by Israel in this hour? And the U.S., I'm not a politician, I'm here on behalf of the Army, has been the greatest friend and has supported Israel and understands our objectives. Regarding a ceasefire, for an entire year, Hezbollah has been firing rockets, over 9,000 rockets, missiles, and killer drones, and no one talked about a ceasefire. Now that Israel is actually taking the assertion to try to protect its civilians, we're calling for a ceasefire, as we've said and as the Israeli army says, that we're open for anything as long as Israeli civilians can go back to home, and Hezbollah withdraws beyond the Litani. What we know is that right now, Hezbollah, every one of those rockets and missiles is inside one of their own homes, their civilian homes. You've seen the pictures. They don't care about Lebanese civilians, they don't care about Israeli civilians in the world. Instead of demanding Israel to have a ceasefire, should be demanding that Hezbollah pull out.
If Hezbollah does not withdraw to the Litani River, is Israel prepared to send in ground forces?
We have made preparations, and we've said very clearly that all the options are on the table. Our ground forces have been training over the last few days, the last few weeks. It's not something we want to do. We don't want to send our sons and daughters. I don't want to send my children into Lebanon to fight Hezbollah, who's been hiding beneath the ground and is probably waiting for them. It's the last thing I want to do. However, I just came from the north. It's a ghost town with rockets and missiles falling everywhere. And we just have no choice. I mean, what are we not going to bring our civilians back home? It's a terrible choice.